And this is specifically for people who are new to Canada or the North, who have no idea how to deal with the cold, whether or not you've taken ski trips before. So I'm just going to talk to you about winter gear. When I moved to the Midwest at 17, I thought it was okay to wear a jacket, like a ski jacket, instead of a proper winter coat. And I had an aunt who lived there as well, and she tried to talk me out of it, but I didn't want to look like a stuffed sausage. So I bought the cuter jacket as opposed to a proper winter coat. And I literally froze my ass off. I mean, it's really cold and you need a proper coat that covers you. So today I'm going to talk about winter gear for those who have no idea what they're doing or who are new to Canada. If you are a refugee to Canada, my husband tells me that you should be provided with a coat and people to explain what it is you need. But nevertheless, there's a lot of people who come in who just really don't know what to do with. So first of all, you've always heard, I'm sure, dress in layers. And as you can see, today I'm wearing a layer. I have a camisole and I have a cardigan over it. And this is a very practical solution for an office where it can get cold or it can get hot, depending on how they keep the temperature, so you can shuck it on or shuck it off. Now, if it's really cold, it's not today. It's only -1 to 1 today, so right around the freezing mark in Fahrenheit, 30 to 33 or so. If it's much colder than that, then you might also want to wear long underwear as the layer closest to your skin. Now, I don't spend a lot of time outside in winter, and I no longer commute via public transit, so I don't feel that I need snow pants. But if you are spending time outside, or if you have children, the children for sure, and if you're outside, need snow pants instead of just long underwear. So snow pants look like this. So some of us may be more familiar with them as ski pants. They can have a bib. Most of them that come with a bib, this unzips and it unbuckles here in the front, so you can have it just as pants as if you want. But generally, I find it easier for kids to keep them up if they keep the bib on. So you just slip these on over whatever it is you're wearing, and you stay nice and toasty warm. And that's a really, really smart thing to do. So let's talk now about coats. Coats do not need to be expensive to be effective, and they last a really long time. Now, what you need, I already said, is a long coat. So let me pause this and see if I can rearrange everything so you can see the whole coat on me. Now, for me, the warmest coat is always a down coat. Some people like Thinsulate better, but I think down works much better. And yes, I look like a stuffed sausage, but I'm now at the point in my life where I'd much rather look like a stuffed sausage than be cold. So that's just the decision I have made. So a good winter coat should include, you can see here, there's a flap underneath the zipper, so that makes sure it's completely closed. Sometimes you have a zipper with a flap over it with buttons or snaps, and that works as well too. So I like to be especially warm. There are stadium coats that go down past the knee. That's a little impractical, I think, so mine is just above the knee. Your coat needs to be at least mid-thigh, at least this level, in order to stay warm. You want your bum completely covered, okay? So you need pockets, obviously, at least 2 sets of pockets here. And you also need a hood. Now, there, see how it has this fake fur around it? The Inuit know what they're doing with that fake fur. What happens is, unless the wind is coming directly at your face, the fake fur makes the wind go whoosh, and it doesn't land directly on your face. It makes a huge, huge difference to how you're affected when it's very windy. So make sure that the coat can come all the way up, and that when you zip it, it covers your neck and the lower part of your mouth, like this, okay? That'll make you much warmer. And at your wrist, you should have wrist guards that go inside the sleeves that will keep out snow, and you can put your gloves inside that so they'll come out and you'll be completely blocked off. The other thing is, if you're in a long coat like this one, you know, almost to the knees. Make sure you have a zipper. This zipper goes to about here, and then below that you have snaps, so you can unsnap it when it's not quite so cold or when you're in a hurry to walk to the subway. Now let's talk accessories. Accessories are super important because that's really what helps keep you entirely warm. So for hats, one important thing, especially for the little ones, is that the hats cover their ears. So these hats in the States are called ski caps or beanies, and in Canada are known as toques. So this is my son, so it's not going to go on my head. But this toque completely covers his ears. And for especially little ones, here it is, it's nice to have the whole ear flap. See how that just wraps around his chin? And that kept him, as a toddler, nice and toasty warm, and a kindergartner. Now for me, what's most important is I will pull up my hood when it's especially cold and windy. So I have to have a hat that fits under the hood. And I don't like my ears covered. So I have this little beanie / toque, and it will cover my ears if I really pull it down, but most of the time I wear it about here, but I can just pull the hood over that and that's no big deal. Okay? Now, for scarves, I don't personally like scarves, so I always make sure that my jacket goes up to the neck and will cover this lower part of my face. But for your children, if they're playing outside, you will certainly need scarves. And instead of a proper scarf, a neck warmer, also sometimes known as a popover, is much easier. And you see this is just one cylinder of nice fleece fabric, and it will keep them toasty, and it's much easier to keep track of. Now let's talk gloves. Okay, knit gloves are beautiful and light and wonderful, and they can be enjoyable, but they're basically worthless if it's snowing or raining or sleeting or you're playing outside. Okay, so you can have them for lighter weight weather, but you don't need them for when it's especially cold. When it's especially cold, get insulated gloves that are waterproof. So this is an example of a children's one. This has been through 2 seasons with my youngest son, and you see it's completely worn out. Okay, but this kept his hands warm and dry until the very end of the second winter. So they have elastic down at the bottom, and this also has a Velcro thing that went around and made it tight on his wrist, which was very useful. So you want waterproof on the outside, lined with thin slit. For a young one, you can have mittens instead of gloves. And then I recommend you either get little pieces of elastic that with clips on the ends that clip here and then to the jacket, or you can crochet a nice string here and put that through the jacket and through the winter coat, and then they will always have their gloves with them and they won't lose them. So top tip from a mom of 3, let me tell you, that's important. Now, when it's really cold, let's talk footwear and socks right now. When it's really cold, you need a proper pair of wool socks. Not some nice thin whatever, but a proper pair of wool socks. Send your children to school with extra socks because sometimes they will get wet, especially if they manage to get snow inside their snow boots. So, snow boots. Now, there are lots of different choices on those. For adults, if you're commuting to work, my top recommendation, and this has saved my life so many times, these are Blundstones, okay? Now, I know that Blundstones are an Australian outback boot, and you think, why would that work in Canada? I don't know why it would work in Canada, but it does. They do have insulated ones if you want them nice and warm. I just wear them with thicker socks when it's really cold. And I have, despite the fact that that's not a real thick tread, I have never fallen in these shoes. This is my 4th pair of Blundstones since I moved to Canada in 2003, maybe 3rd. Anyway, I've been through a few of them, and they're expensive, but they're extremely well made, and they last a really long time. They're just amazing. Really, really good quality things. And there's something about the ankle support in there that keeps me from slipping and falling, so when I start to slip, I can catch myself much easier. So I strongly recommend these boots. And covered up with pants. This is the city version, so this is acceptable to wear to the office, I think. You can also, of course, change into something, which is what a lot of Canadians do. Another option This is what I do when I'm just on the school run. These are LL Bean duck boots. There are, of course, the lace-up ones. I prefer pull-on boots. These are completely waterproof, and you see all of the, so they're good for rain too. You can see all of the rubber here. And they're not as warm or as comfortable or as safe as the Blundstones are, but they're easy to put on, and I just can run to school. You know, I can get snow quite high up and not get wet at all. The Blundstones are water resistant and not waterproof, so if there's a lot of snow on the ground, I wear these instead. Now, for children, these are our new snow boots this year. So for children, you need something that's nice and insulated, and you see that's lined beautifully. If you can get something lightweight, that makes more sense, and make sure they're completely waterproof and sealed up here at the top. Now, you have to buy decent quality snow boots for kids, because generally what happens is at the end of either one season or two seasons, sometimes we do pass these down among my boys, they will develop holes right here. So they will basically wear through them in their play, and that's totally normal. But if you start with a high quality one, you can go a lot longer and even pass them down. So they should be lightweight and easy to get in and out of. So this just has some Velcro in it, so you can extend it and put your foot in, and then you can either put your snow pants on the outside, which protects this from getting snow inside, or tuck your snow pants inside if you prefer that. Most of the kids, I think, wear them on the outside. So that works much, much better. So I hope that sets you up where you're not as lost as I was my first little bit in the Great White North. And that you stay nice and warm and toasty and safe this winter.